In this video, I'm going to be providing a complete breakdown of the two S-rank limited characters that we're going to be getting in Zenless Zone 0, Elen Joe and Zhu Yuan. I will be analyzing and taking an in-depth look at their kits, ideal playstyles and teams, as well as how good are their W engines going to be and if it's worth it to go after them. I am someone that has put over 100 hours across all three closed beta tests and have put a ton of time into theory crafting and breaking down the numbers. As such, I will try to make this video as informative as possible so that you can get the most value out of your account. With that being said, hello everyone, my name is DarkHero and let's get started. Elen is going to be an ice attribute agent from the Victoria Housekeeping Company faction that uses a large weapon that can be turned into scissors for some quick and powerful slashes. She's a fast attacker that is going to take the role of a main damage dealer, though you're not really going to be mashing the attack button with Elen if you want to get the most value out of her, as she has a really cool and unique playstyle, being by far and above my #1 favorite character from the closed beta tests. So, how do you play Elen? Elen has a very simple and quick 3-hit basic attack combo, and also has a charged attack and a dash attack as you have come to expect from all of the characters. However, the cool thing about her is that if you double tap or hold down the dash button, Elen will enter what is called the roaming state. During this roaming state, Elen's dash attack will be turned into the Arctic ambush, and upon using it, Elen will gain flash freeze charges that you can see marked below Elen's HP and energy meters. Elen can hold up to 6 stacks of flash freeze, and using basic attacks or dash attacks will expend those flash freeze charges, dealing massive ice damage. Though it should be noted that using her basic dash attack will only reward Elen with 1 stack of flash freeze, whereas if you hold down the button and do a dash into a charged attack instead, you will gain 3 flash freeze stacks, which you then can spend on all 3 hits of your basic attack combo to deal much more damage and be as effective as possible. Additionally, every time you use your EX special attack, that is your enhanced skill, you will gain 1 more flash freeze stack. And if you have enough energy, you'll be able to perform a follow-up with a second EX special attack, netting you 1 additional flash freeze stack, and you can then finish it off by directly following up with the 3rd hit of your basic attack combo, which is the strongest out of all 3 hits, where Elen plunges down and spins around while doing damage, with this attack having an increased 50% crit damage. And the cool thing about this final hit of her basic attack combo is that you can actually hold it to have Elen spin a few more times to deal even more damage. And this mechanic of using the EX special attack to then skip into the final hit of the basic attack combo is actually something that many other characters have in the game, which is pretty cool. So you can see that Elen is going to have quite a few things for you to master and optimize to get the most value out of her kit. She's not necessarily a complex character, but you really want to nail down these mechanics so that she can excel at her role of being a great damage dealer. Something else you'll need to pay attention to is, of course, her teammates, as there are a particular few that are going to help propel her to the next level, seeing as one of her passives is going to boost Elen's ice damage by 3% for 10 seconds, stacking up to 10 times for a massive 30% damage increase each time that she deals ice damage, as long as she shares the same attribute, ice, or faction, the Victoria Housekeeping Company, with another character on your team. And to that effect, 2 characters that are naturally going to be a great pair for Elen are going to be Lycaon and Soukaku. I have already spoken at length about Lycaon being an amazing pair for Elen in my previous video, so do check it out, but Lycaon, on top of sharing the same attribute and faction as Elen, is going to be the primary stunner of Zenless Zone 0, making it a lot easier for Elen to damage enemies without a care in the world. As for Soukaku, she's by far the character I use the most throughout all the closed beta tests, as she can not only build energy quickly, but can also provide a meaningful attack buff that can be passed on to other characters, on top of being able to guarantee reactive assists with ease, so she will be a fantastic support for Elen. Finally, there's Rina, who can be a good alternative for Soukaku, as she's going to provide defense shred, which will certainly help Elen deal more damage. Now, should you have any of these agents already in your account, then summoning for Elen would be a good choice, especially if you have multiple copies of them. That being said, we also need to talk about Elen's W engine, the Deep Sea Visitor. Equipping this will not only boost Elen's ice damage by 25%, 10%, but upon hitting the enemy with a basic attack will increase Elen's crit rate by 10% for 8 seconds. And when dealing ice damage with a dash attack, it will further boost Elen's crit rate by another 10%. Now naturally the signature W engine is going to be by far Elen's best choice, but it should be noted that just with this W engine alone, you'll be able to increase Elen's crit rate by almost 55%, making it far easier for you to make efficient and powerful builds for her, as you'll be able to use pieces with lower crit rates in favor of other beneficial stats. She's an extremely powerful character that is certainly going to be the #1 DPS when the game releases. Though that being said, I do have some additional notes at the end of the video where I want to go over where exactly Elen is going to land in the metagame of Zenless Zone 0 and how you should expect her to perform long term as we get a few more updates into the game. And then we have the second limited S rank character, Zhu Yuan. Zhu Yuan is also going to be a primary damage dealer, though this one is going to be an ether attribute agent, of which there is only one other in the entire game, Nicole, but we'll talk more about her synergy in a moment. So Zhu Yuan, as I said, is going to focus on damage. She's a ranged character with plenty of mobility, similarly to Grace, but her playstyle is also very unique. She's able to swap between two different firing modes: assault mode where she unleashes a flurry of martial arts, bullets and ether buckshots in a series of up to 5 attacks, dealing a mix of physical and ether damage, and her second firing mode, suppressive mode, where Zhu Yuan fires up to 4 shot shell piercing attacks, dealing physical damage. Additionally, Zhu Yuan has a special meter below her HP and energy bars that represent her enhanced shot shells. She can hold up to 9 of these, and she can gain them in many ways, like performing a full basic attack combo, and these enhanced shot shells will of course be consumed to allow Zhu Yuan to deal increased damage. In fact, while under suppressive mode, using enhanced shot shells will not only deal massive ether damage, but that damage will also be increased by 20%. And she's also going to be dealing an additional 20% extra damage to stunned enemies. And keep in mind that when expending these enhanced shot shells, it's not just one bullet from Zhu Yuan's attacks that is going to be enhanced, but in fact it's going to be all of them. And I do want to emphasize this. It's not just one instance of damage that is being buffed, it's all the instances of damage from that one attack that are being buffed. Furthermore, Zhu Yuan's special and EX special are going to be a reliable source of additional ether damage from her, and with her EX special Full Barrage not only dealing massive damage through a series of ether buckshots, but also granting her 3 enhanced shot shells at once, so you are really going to want to save up the energy for the EX special with her. On top of that, one of Zhu Yuan's coolest core mechanics is that she essentially has a built-in dodge counter, where after firing she is able to move into any direction you press, allowing you to easily dodge incoming attacks and stay on the offensive. And if you keep on dodging and not getting hit, you'll be able to fill up your bullet meter quickly to keep on dealing damage. In this sense, Zhu Yuan can be a very independent character in the hands of skilled players, though of course she is going to enjoy having characters that can support her by increasing her damage, shred the enemy's defenses, or even provide some stunts to make it easier to continuously deal damage. And again, Zhu Yuan will deal increased damage to stun targets. And it should also be noted that Zhu Yuan's chain attacks will provide her with 3 additional enhanced shot shells. That being said, as for Zhu Yuan's W engine, the right suppressor Mark 6 is going to not only increase Zhu Yuan's ether damage by 25%, but will also provide her with 8 charge stacks. And these stacks will be consumed whenever you perform basic attacks or dash attacks to deal ether damage and increase the skills damage by 45%. Now just off of the effect alone, this W engine is going to provide a ton of additional damage for Zhu Yuan. Furthermore, the fact that this is going to grant you up to 48% crit damage means that, much like with Elen's W engine, it will be a lot easier for you to be able to craft the perfect build, as you will be able to forego some crit damage and focus on some other beneficial stats. That being said, we should talk about the best characters that will be complementing Zhu Yuan. Now, given that there's only one more ether character in the game, Nicole is a no-brainer, but the bonus that we're getting from sharing the same attribute isn't the only reason why we pick Nicole. Nicole can also provide defense reduction and offers a meaningful ether damage boost for the entire team. And though the buff duration is short, it can still be quite effective for Zhu Yuan in bursts of damage. Additionally, Nicole also has a very nice AoE effect that can pull enemies and group them together in Nicole's black hole, and that is certainly going to make things easier for you. Now, as for your final teammate, you would ideally be looking for a stunner, seeing as we have already covered the support role. And given that we can't also get a stunner that shares the same attribute, and that Zhu Yuan's faction faction currently has no other character in the game, we'll need someone that shares Nicole's faction, so that will have to be none other than Anby. Now, in terms of how effective Anby is, she's a competent stunner that is easy to use and has some very comfortable rotations. That being said, she's not really an ideal character, but she can certainly cover for the role until we get a character more suited to provide stuns for Zhu Yuan. And that really is Zhu Yuan's biggest problem, that she lacks good teammates. Thankfully, Nicole is actually pretty good, and while we have seen in previous trailer what some of Zhu Yuan's teammates look like, we currently have no idea of how good they are going to be or even what role they are going to fulfill. Now, Zhu Yuan's saving grace is that her limited banner will only release in about 2 weeks, which means that you'll have a longer period of time to accumulate resources to maybe guarantee her weapon or an extra copy should you wish for it. And also, let's be real here, gacha games inevitably end up power creeping characters, so the new agents from Zhu Yuan's faction are not only certainly going to benefit her, but there's going to be a good chance that many of them will also overtake the already existing cast in many aspects. But in terms of comparison, I do believe that if you were to compare them side by side, Elen would outperform Zhu Yuan not only in terms of damage, but in terms of utility if you take into account her preferred team. But even as a solo agent, Elen versus Zhu Yuan, I think I have to say that Elen is going to outdamage Zhu Yuan. That being said, I will be making a full in-depth guide for each of these characters whenever they release, so expect a full breakdown of Elen very soon, and as soon as Zhu Yuan releases, expect me to make a guide on her as well. So as always, subscribe for better luck on your 50-50. My name is DarkHero, and thank you all so much for watching.